in representation of the Chamber who's joining us today, as well as our keynote speakers, Alexander Lewis-Jones, Damony Thomas, and our panelist, Francisco Martinez and Heinz Sturm. Last but not least, our moderator, Maria Alejandra Pulido, sorry, Maria, I've said it wrong, Director of the Environment Alliance. The mobility issues are rapidly growing to the point that cities are now beginning to take center stage as a major obstacle to sustainable economic development. Fast urbanization has led to levels of congestion and pollution that severely impair the economic prospects of cities and the health and well-being of people that live in them. In addition, transportation is the major contributor to global climate change, particularly greenhouse gas emissions, meaning that it is the prime target for reducing air pollution and obtaining a sustainable environment. Promoted by the EU Tech Chamber and the Environment Alliance, today's digital talk aims to analyse how urban planners worldwide continually attempt to support sustainable transport, especially in developing countries. Green mobility is a way to achieve sustainable cities, and cities need efficient and affordable solutions to prevent traffic jams, improve urban environmental degradation, and reduce CO2 emissions. Let's talk about how the future of mobility is being fueled by technology-driven disruptive solutions. Thank you very much. Enjoy the event, and I would like now to hand over the microphone to Marcin Kiel, who will introduce us to the Chamber, its mission, and the tools it offers for its advocates.
Good morning, everyone. I have some issue with the presentation. I can't open it on my computer. I don't know why, but it was working like a minute ago, but now I can't. Maria, maybe you can just share your screen and open the presentation, because I just can't do it. Maybe I can do it with my...
Give me just 1 second.
Okay, sorry for this, but my computer was like a little bit too slow, I can say.
Asmat, can you help us with this? Because I'm having as well issues sharing my screen. Asmat?
Oh yeah, it's starting. Okay, let's just wait. Maybe I'm starting sharing my screen. I hope it will work.
Maria, I have met you, presenter. Please share your screen.
No, but the problem is that I cannot do it with my computer right now. Otherwise, it will block itself.
Okay, let me just try, because now it's working for me.
Okay, we apologize with the audience.
Yeah, do you see my now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your screen is coming.
Yeah. Okay. So I see it. So I see it's okay. So good morning, everyone. Once again, my name is Marcin Kiel, and I'm a Climate Action Alliance Director in UTEC. So I would like to introduce you and tell you a little bit about our chamber. So our main vision is technology obliges. We believe that technology is helping us, will help us to reach, I can say, sustainability goals and other goals which we wanted to reach. Basically, I'm working in a Climate Action Alliance, so we believe that technology for sure will help us to reach, to be closer to net zero. And for now, we know that with all the technology we have now in Europe, basically in the world, we can reduce around 70% of emissions, but we're still not using it. So we have to wait for the some kind of transition. But basically, we have the technology to reduce a lot of emissions, but we are not using it. But yeah, technology obliges. This is our vision and motto. So UTEC is a chamber. UTEC Chamber is a registered non-profit organization which enables European companies to use their technologies for the benefit of Europe and mankind. And we have 3 goals that we believe that technology is the key to reach them. As I said, it's competitiveness, growth, and sustainability. So competitiveness, we want to strengthen and promote European technologies and values, and with growth, we want to access opportunities in Europe and emerging markets. And in sustainability, we want to reach United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through the European technology, as I said. So we believe that technology obliges. This is the value proposition. Every advocate who will join us, he can take a part. He can be a part of this proposition, of this toolbox and programs we are providing to our advocates. So if you are interested, for example, to join exhibitions or to join our summit or to join our SDG award program or climate action partnership program, just contact Maria. She will give you more information about this. Basically, as you see, we have also a lot of meetings and events. So we have working groups. So as you see, 650 section meetings every year. Those are our working groups meetings, and 200 events. So those are events like this today, webinars and digital webinars. So if you're interested, of course, with those this proposition with those toolbox and programs, just contact Maria. She will give you all the informations. So about the structure of our alliance, we have regional alliances, impact alliances, and technology alliances. So as you see here, we have this is the structure, I can say. So we have alliance in China, Africa, Latin America, Germany, Benelux, and Middle East. So we have people there. They are working on those markets and trying to help to reach our goals on those markets. We have also impact alliances, which are Academy, SDG, Finance, Policy, Mine, Climate Action, and Women in Tech. And we have also technology alliances, which is Smart City, Digital Transformation, Environment, Advanced Manufacturing, IoT, Mobility, and Energy. So those alliances are more technology, they're going more deep dive with some technologies. Basically, all of the alliance we are working on in really different fields. So if you are interested in one of those, also of course contact Maria. She can match you with other alliances, with other directors, and maybe you will be able to contact with them also. So here you can see some statistics about our virtual events. So almost every day, even 2 times a day, we have a webinar. Different alliances are organizing different, I can say, topics and on different fields. So as you see, 228 webinars, working groups, 10 exhibitions a day, 10 exhibitions a year. Basically, I did my exhibition, my Climate Action Summit in March. It was really huge event with over 500 companies registered, 10 keynote speakers, 25 panelists. Everything was online, 1 day, 4 hours. It was huge success. So if you are interested also to join one of our summits and exhibition, of course, contact Maria. Over 50,000 registrants every year, sorry. And we have also huge base of the speakers. So also if you join the the chamber, you will have access to the speakers' days. So I think it's also very valuable. Those people are really experts about really different things related, of course, to our alliances. Our proposal to our partners, I can say, we have also partnership program proposal, not only the advocates. Basically, if company want to join us as a partner, she can join our Senate, European Technology Senate. Also, this partner can write an articles in our magazine, which is Visions for Europe. It's our own magazine. He can also be a Summit and Expo partner. For example, my partners was United Nations and CDP. So those are pretty, I can say, well-known companies, I can say. We have also strategic alliances partnerships. So every alliance can have their own, I can say, partner. So upcoming summits, you can see the next summits. We don't have dates here, but basically new dates are coming. So we'll have China Alliance, Latin America Alliance, and Digital Transformation and Finance. They are preparing their own summits. So let's stay in touch. Please visit our webpage or LinkedIn webpage. For sure, there will be some information about upcoming summits. We have, sorry, it's my son here. We have also for our summits and expos, we have Tech Forum. It's a kind of platform that we are organizing. All the events, all the companies can register on this platform, can create their own company cards, so they are able to networking between themselves. So I think it's and of course there's a live streaming on this platform from all of the rooms, because we can also have a kind of main room and also 10 breakout rooms with the sessions in one time. So I think it's very good platform to organize events. So this is how it looks like all the summit and expo platform. And yeah, we are providing also to our advocates all the informations, all the news, I can say, so they are also know what's happening in the chamber. But if you want to know more about our chamber, just join the LinkedIn page and visit us. Sorry, yeah, okay, it's my son. So thank you very much. Have a great webinar here, and wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Marcin, for that great UTech.
Yeah, I have some issues here, but I hope it was interesting. Thank you very much.
It was. Thank you, Marcin.
Thank you.
I would like to thank as well Jennifer for those very interesting welcome words for this webinar. As she already told you, my name is Maria Alejandra Pulido, and I am the director for the Environment Alliance here in UTech. I would like to say good morning to all of you, good afternoon for those that maybe are in the other side of the world. And we're really excited about today's topic, that is green tech mobility. I invite you to share your thoughts, your opinions, your questions on the topic. You can do that on the public chat that you will find on the left side of your screen. Please don't wait till the end of the webinar to do that. You can start doing that since this moment, okay? I will take those questions and comments, and I'm going to share with all the panelists at the end of the panel so that we can discuss about them, so that we can talk about them. Today, we're honored with the presence of 4 great panelists. All of them are experienced professionals with a great vision. Now, I would like to introduce our first keynote speaker, Alexander Lewis-Jones. Alex is the founder of Other Way, a climate data business dedicated to mobility and logistics sectors. He has spent the last decade researching and decarbonizing of transport, and is a recognized expert on electric vehicles and charging infrastructure across Europe, North America, and Asia. Other Way exists to improve the carbon footprint data behind every journey and every vehicle. It works with business to help them to adopt and communicate the benefits of green transportation solutions. So Alex, I'm going to give you the presenter. Okay, you already have them. You are able to share the screen now.
That's great. Thank you very much, Maria. And I hope that you can now see my screen. Is that right?
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. Well, hello, everyone. Yes, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation to present to you this morning. I'm going to set my timer because this is a topic that I can talk for hours on, so I'll make sure that I stick to my time limit. But I wanted to start off the discussion by answering this one question. Yeah, how is tech cutting carbon from mobility in 2022? Now, as Maria said in my introduction, I run a business called Otherway, and our focus is on carbon footprinting data and improving that across all forms of mobility and logistics. And the idea comes from the fact that climate solutions are everywhere, but we're not so engaged with them. And I really liked the way that in the previous presentation from Marcin, he was talking about how technology obliges. I feel the same way. We need to engage to make sure that we decarbonize faster across all modes of transport in all sectors. So this is what we do. We're building the world's most comprehensive collection of transport emissions data, turning that into useful calculations that can have impact for businesses and consumers. And we want to celebrate what we've avoided in the past, realize what the impacts are today, and promote the sustainable transport solutions of the future. So, to give a holistic view of where we are with climate and transport, this is a graphic that I've taken straight from the latest IPCC report published this year around mitigation. And from the 2019 data, we can see that transport has accounted for 15% of greenhouse gas or climate emissions. That's the purple bar you can see there. Now, actually, its impact is even greater than that 15% because the red below it, that's energy. A lot of the energy that's consumed is for transport purposes. And the blue above it, that is industry. And of course, we are building vehicles which are attributed to industry as well. So there is a considerable impact of transport in this climate challenge. The bars to the right of the 2019 data, these are all net zero scenarios. So ways that we can make sure that as a world, we are not putting in more carbon than we are taking out. And we can see that in all of these scenarios, there is a rapid decrease in that purple bar and the associated red and blue bars as well. So we need to do more. We need to take an awful lot of action in order to enable us to reach our climate stable ambitions. So for me, one of the key things that I do when I talk to a lot of my clients is emphasizing that it's more than just thinking about the tailpipe emissions. We have about 4 billion vehicles going around the planet, driving around the planet today. Most of them have individual tailpipes, but there's a whole range of different sources of emissions, and as a result, a whole range of different solutions. This is my framework for how I like to think about where all these solutions sit. So first of all, it's really important to take a life cycle analysis approach. So we look at all stages of the vehicle and the journey in mobility. So first of all, we build that vehicle. We make the energy that goes into that vehicle. We then use that energy through combustion, and then there is the waste of that vehicle at the very end. Now, if we overlay that with some approaches to how we can cut emissions from these different stages, well, we have three different strategies. The first we call avoid. So if we just avoid taking journeys or avoid transport, avoid mobility, then that is a way to reduce emissions. We can shift. So what if we were to make sure we're doing the same journey, but shift to a different mode of transport or a different way of doing that journey. And finally, there's improve. So we might be doing the same journey with the same vehicle, but we might be doing it in a more fuel efficient way or using a different fuel source indeed. Now, any transport or mobility climate solution can sit inside this grid that we've created here. Here are some examples that I've put together for you for where this could sit across the life cycle and across the different approaches to climate. There are an almost infinite amount, and it's great to see across the world different types of technology, different types of solution coming. And the key point I wanted to make here is that technology is leading all of this. There are many ways that different startups, different corporates can use their technology and use their talent to make sure that we are finding ways to cut emissions across the life cycle. Now, the one that I've colored in purple here is electric. That has a big impact across all of these life cycle stages. And this has been the focus of my career in recent years. And coming from Europe, I've really noticed a difference during my career in decarbonisation of transport, which dates back to 2014. We've seen this growth in electric vehicles with batteries across Europe. There are now over 5 million of these vehicles from a very tiny number when we started. So there is this argument that this could be the biggest climate solution story right now. People love to talk about, when they talk about climate solutions, they talk about that electric vehicle that they might want to get as their next car. For Europe, this is quite a disruption. There's lots of different ways that we can think of this. But for me, I find it the most fascinating technology story that we have in Europe right now that is being deployed to individual consumers. Now, let me just click through this. Okay. To support this, there are lots of barriers to any innovative technology. So we have to create a full technology ecosystem to make this a reality. I won't go into huge amounts of detail here, but it's just to show you all the different roles that are required to enable the electric car to exist and to work for the customer who sits at the middle. We have the suppliers, so hardware and software developers. We have deployment, the people actually making sure that we're getting the vehicles out there and getting the charging infrastructure in place so that we can charge them. Then operation, actually using the vehicles, charging them up, making sure that we have the energy supply ready and available. And then there are different types of service afterwards. And a lot of these are quite new technologies. And some of the most exciting things we can explore here are around how the electric vehicle can actually provide services to communities as a backup generator. Finally, from my side, I use software to show people that, this is the right thing to do. It's not always the right solution for everyone to go to an electric car. So let's dig down into that life cycle analysis and find where the savings are, where we are going to make the most use of a new vehicle and present that to different fleets, to different stakeholders. And we're seeing increasing trust that we are taking the right step when we move to electric vehicles. That's everything from me. I will pass back to Maria, and I'm looking forward to the discussion later on.
Thank you so much, Alex. We are very looking forward to continue this conversation. Now, I would like to introduce our second keynote speaker, Damani Thomas. Damani Thomas is an environmental scientist, inventor, and economic entrepreneur. He is the founder and CEO of Carbon Neutral Jamaica and leads the development and creation of various revolutionary and sustainable innovations. Damani, I think that we have an echo, so can you turn off your microphone just for 1 minute? I'm going to turn off your microphone just a second. Okay. He leads all plans in product design and future development research and engineering. And he's preparing to launch this company that focuses on outing our fight against social, economic, and environmental factors that are a great issue in our society today. majoring in global environmental issues, environmental chemistry. He's a creator of Carbon Attack Fighter and the Duterte Biofuel. So now I'll give you the microphone. I want to confirm that we can see your screen, okay? Remember to unmute yourself.
All right.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Maria. So here I am, Amani Thomas, the founder and CEO of the Carbon Neutral Initiative. And the Carbon Neutral Initiative is a Jamaica-born company found to tackle global environmental issues and help countries reach their sustainable development goals through creating climate-resilient technologies and circular economy strategies. Now, we mainly focus on decarbonizing transport. Now, we create solutions to like specialized carbon capture and energy. Now, we create a number of solutions, and this is our first solution, the carbon attack filter, and it falls into the space of decarbonizing transport through carbon capture and aid against air pollution. Now, the problem we face as to why we created the solution, as stated by our previous speaker, transportation is the largest contributor to climate change, mostly regarding the amount of emissions it sends out into the atmosphere. But there's another issue that is equally as problematic, and that is soil degradation. Now, we can see that we lose over 24 billion tons of fertile soil each year, and that this is largely due to poor agricultural practices and, well, mining of land. There's also the issue of the increased temperature, as stated by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We also have an issue of public health threat because of the toxic gases, which causes about 4 million lives each year and about 200,000 in the UK. And also polluted air, as stated, transport produces about 29% of total carbon emissions in 2019. And of this, 45% of it come from passenger cars. So about 80% of your inner city pollution, your inner city air pollution, is caused by passenger cars. Now, it is because of that we created the solution, the carbon attack filter. And the carbon attack filter is a biodegradable carbon capture filter designed specifically for passenger cars. Now, it traps all major greenhouse gases from exhaust before it gets into the air. We trap gases such as carbon oxides, nitrous oxides, and sulfur, and also lead. So what makes this solution carbon circular is that after capture, these cartridges can be used in a number of circular economy industries, but we choose to capitalize on its ability to be applied into the agricultural sector. So it can be reused as organic fertilizer. Now, how it works is that it's easily retrofitted to the tailpipe, and from there it traps the greenhouse gases. So when the filter is used up, we can reuse it as is as a stabilizer for acidic soil, or upcycle it into stronger organic fertilizer. And from there, we add it to acidic soil or normal soil to rehabilitate land. Now, another thing that we are planning to do in the near future is that we would partner with the forestry departments. Now, here in Jamaica and all over the world, mining operations have left lands decimated. And through reforestation efforts, organizations try to plant more forests, but in most cases, they would plant, for example, they would plant 100 trees and only about 20% of that survives to adulthood. So we are also aiming to make sure that we bring up the number of surviving trees by providing an extra layer of stabilizer and nutrients through the waste that this product produces. Now, this is our value proposition. Now, this helps your existing internal combustion vehicle to become more carbon compliant. And besides the fact that it's easy to use and more affordable than what is currently on the market, it is carbon circular, being that it's a biodegradable fuel. Now, these are the impacts of the carbon attack filter. Of course, it decentralized and democratized carbon capture, and it aids in the sustainable development goals, sustainable cities, good health, climate action, decent work and economic growth. And as for our economic impact, it can lower the company's carbon tax by decarbonizing their distribution chains. It's a market that is projected to be worth over $1 trillion by 2030, and it also aids in the carbon circular economy. Now, as to our environmental impact, the carbon attack filter reduces emissions by 80%, and as stated, it decarbonizes transport and aids in reforestation. Now, to go further into the climate impact, the average car emits about 4.6 tons of carbon each year. Now, with the carbon attack filter fitted, we can bring that number down to about 1.3 tons. So through that, we can remove these harmful chemicals that are harming the air and the ozone layer, and we can put those chemicals somewhere that it is needed and can be used in soil. Because as we know, the sulfur, the carbon, the nitrogen, all of those are actually nutrients to soil, so we can use them. So this is our scale-up potential. This product has applications to all levels of markets, to motorists, to business, and also to governments. So that is our first project, and now comes our second project. This project is called the Duterte Fuel, and it is in our clean energy and energy security sector. Now, the Duterte Fuel is a more compatible fuel with other vehicles than E10 because it does not possess the properties with corrosive combustion, as that is one of the major issues that E10 gasoline has. Now, to go further into the problems of E10. Now, E10 is the most widely used biofuel in the world. I think it's used in about 68 countries or more. But this product itself has a lot of problems. Now, as we know, many countries are still highly dependent on imported fossil fuels. And it's not very sustainable because many government refineries operate at a loss and the private refineries operate at low profits. Now, the E10 has a low energy output than raw petrol, and it can lower your fuel economy by about 3%. And as it lowers carbon, it lowers the carbon footprint by about 5% as opposed to raw unleaded fuel. But being that it's been around for so many years, as over 30 years, I believe that we should be doing more at this point. Now, and it's also not compatible with many vehicles because the corrosive nature of ethanol combustion, as I stated. Now, it's because of that I created the solution, the Duterte Fuel. Now, the Duterte Fuel is a semi-synthetic biofuel designed to be more sustainable than E10. Now, the Duterte Fuel has a higher energy output and uses more complex synthetic biofuels and less petrol. Now, in that way, we can more step away from fossil fuel dependency. Now, from there, we created a more environmentally friendly and cost-effective transportation fuel that burns cleaner.
Damani, sorry to interrupt you. Please consider the time because we need to continue with the other panelists and with the panel discussion, okay?
Yes, I'm closing up now. So this is the environmental impact of the Duterte Fuel. As stated, it reduces greenhouse gas by a minimum of 10 to 15%, as opposed to E10's 5 to 7. And as for the economic impact, it lowers the fossil fuel dependency by stepping out using an even lower blend of petrol. And as stated, it is more energy dense. So the Duterte Fuel gives more value per liter. So it requires less frequent refueling, which is better for fuel economy. So these are the SDGs that we are a part of with this solution, most notably the affordable and clean energy. And this fuel also has applications in the aviation industry, which is recently being researched. So we are looking into making a more sustainable form of aviation fuel. So with this solution, we aim to partner with refineries, so we can decarbonize their company, and that's about the end.
Thank you, Damani, so much. We're going to continue this, of course, during the conversation. But now this is the moment to introduce you to the other panelists. I would like to introduce you to Francisco Martinez. He has a PhD from the UC Chile. He is specialized in clean energy transition, digitalization, and decentralization. He has researched the energy transition process and the opportunities based on the digitalization of electric mobility and the distributed energy sources, with an emphasis on business models in local ecosystems. Based on these studies, Francisco has co-founded a company that is called Untitled Energy and Movia. The latter is based on digital solutions for e-mobility, was awarded by the Startup Chile, and Francisco is currently its CEO. So Francisco, if you would like to just say hello to the audience, you have just 1 minute to do that, okay?
Thanks, Maria. So I would like to thanks to UTech for this opportunity. Very interesting what we hear. And I think we all here are in the same effort to decarbonize. I'm doing it from data. So we collect data from electric vehicles to optimize those investments and to promote the use of more electric vehicles, first here in Chile. And we are looking forward to that in the world. I'm very sure that all here, we want the same. So I would like to work with all of you. You can contact me on my LinkedIn or with the UTech. So thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. So let me now introduce you to Heinz Storm. He is the chairman and founder of the International Clean Energy Partnership Association and the Climate Technology Center in Bonn. Heinz, an entrepreneur who works on international projects focusing on the need of establishing the link between Bonn Climate Project and the UN Climate Change Secretariat to develop a holistic approach to using hydrogen for climate change mitigation. This is with the purpose of making economically viable and accelerate energy access in developing countries with very and any energy infrastructure. He has been actively involved in climate protection issues for years, and he actually advises the UN Climate Change Secretariat and some African and Arab governments out of the Climate Technology Center in Bonn. So Heinz, if you would like to say hello to the audience, you have 1 minute again. So yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Maria, for the introduction. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here today and to listen to the partners and to the panelists here and to the presentation. And I'm happy also to listen later to the questions from the audience. And it's a great pleasure to talk about all the electrification in the world and to reduce CO2 print and to work on climate protection. So thank you, Maria, and I'll listen and I will follow the presentations.
Thank you, Heinz. So now after these brief introductions from all our panelists, is the time to start the final discussion. And the first question for all of you will be, in your opinion, which are the most common mobility challenges for smart cities? Who would like to start? So you don't want me to be pointing my finger, so who would like to start giving us your opinion?
Yeah. Okay, can I give a recommendation? All right, Maria?
Yes, please.
Yes, of course, we need to decrease the CO2 print in the cities, in the mega cities in the world, and the transport sector is very important. The passenger cars, the buses, the trucks, the public vehicles, whatever we can imagine, we need to reduce CO2 print, and so we need electric engines or electric mobility, or by battery electric, and also by fuel cell electric vehicles for all kind of vehicles. This is urgently need, and also we have the opportunity then to produce on site our energy from our different resources, which we can find in the country itself. We do not need to import in the future fossil fuels from other countries. So it also for the economy of each country very important.
Thank you, Hayes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Francisco.
Okay, thanks. So I would like to add, well, I live in Santiago of Chile. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. We have 6 million. I'm pretty sure there's bigger cities, but we are facing many challenges. One of those is to rapidly adopt electric vehicles, and that has a challenge that the city is not prepared, mostly in the electrical infrastructure. And maybe you don't know, but a project of investment in electric capacity, it takes maybe 10 years. So we can't wait that time. And we as a company see that we can help from data, because is there a way to do it, equalizing the power of those vehicles in the time? So it's not a big issue if you do it in a smart way. So to me, one of the main challenges is not to wait until it is too late, until the electric infrastructure is done. We can do it very early, using data to optimize the usage of what we have now.
I will add to that point around smart cities are about bringing technology together to solve our solutions, but cities are full of people, and I would say the most common challenge for me is around behavior, and how do we shift people to more sustainable modes of transport, and in every different city. Every city is different, right? Here in London, where I am, there's a battle to get people to not take their car and instead take a bicycle, which is maybe what a couple of generations ago, that's what people were doing. In other cities, people might have there might be economic growth, and people are now able to get their first ever motorized vehicle. And so how do we avoid moving to an unsustainable model of transportation and more congestion and more air pollution? And how do we ensure that people are going to clean vehicles, or even choosing the existing public transport solutions that are there? So for me, that's the key challenge to explore.
Thank you, Alex. Damani, you would like to add anything to the point?
Well, yes, I have to agree about the time. When it comes to public transport, they don't tend to take a very long time to implement more sustainable technologies.
Damani, I don't know if it is just me, but sometimes when you're speaking, your voice is cutting a little bit.
No, that's all I have to say. I realize that my connection is a bit off.
Okay. So there was something that Alex mentioned where you were talking about this behavior as individuals. So I would like to ask you, how do we enable behavior change among individuals and communities to cut the emissions for transport?
Yeah, thank you. Really good question. And yeah, what if people are driven by convenience over cost, right? For me, it's around it's all about engagement. It's all about understanding people's values, talking to communities, realizing that how I behave is probably very different to my neighbor, or even in places much further away from where I live. So the key thing is understanding, what do individual people value in their lives? What do they aspire to be? And finding the solution that's going to work for them. Maybe it's around values of health. Maybe it's around values about protecting their children, or building a more prosperous future. So that's the first step we can take, rather than coming in and saying, no, you must do this. People will rebel or not respond to such a message. So that's how I would begin the conversation, and together you can find ways that you can make those shifts. The final point I would say is that it's really important to implement some kind of behavior change at the same time as perhaps a policy shift or an infrastructure shift. So if there is a new public transport system being built here in London, we 2 days ago there was a new railway line established. Now, if you offer guidance on how to use that at the same time as maybe a month of free transport, as well as telling people, hey, and this is a great thing to do for the planet, here's the carbon emission savings that you've made in that 1 month of using it. That's a way that we can change habits for the long term.
Well, I have also a final suggestion. If the price for those transport systems is a low price for the consumer, he will be immediately accept the switch to electric mobility, or by battery vehicle, or by fuel cell electric vehicle. So the price has to decrease, that the population and everybody will accept the change into a green mobility, I would say. Nowadays, still the price is very high of electric mobility, of electric cars, or any vehicle, even fuel cell vehicles. The price is too high. So let them decrease, and immediately all of us will use it. This is the most important, for my opinion, the most important point of green mobility in the future.
Thank you, Heinz. Francisco, I don't know if you would like to add any comment.
You all are right. We have to decrease the prices. We can do it of many ways. I believe there's right now a momentum, and we are looking for the time where those electric vehicles are at the same price of the traditional ones. Personally, I think it takes like 3 to 5 years, but we don't have to wait. I think right now in places like Chile, that we don't have taxes to promote electric vehicles. We are seeing that people are making math to realize that right now it's a good opportunity to buy electric vehicles, because in the future, the ones that are right now, like the traditional ones, they're worthless. So I think that we have to promote electric vehicles right now, even that they're more expensive, because it's the smart choice right now. And I believe that if you use it properly, and you can optimize and squeeze the use of the electric vehicles, it's by far a better business than to buy right now a combustion vehicle that it will be worthless in a couple of years.
Thank you, Francisco. I would like to ask to all of you, do you think that after the pandemic, people, and I'm talking about consumers, are making different choices? I mean, maybe they are trying to choose a sustainable option, or do you think that it's not?
I would say not right now. I would say that there is certainly a shift in behavior, and a very much a shift towards concern around safety. And we're seeing public transport struggling to recover here in many European cities. and a preference for the personal motor vehicle. And this is not driven by environmental reasons, even though a lot of people are still switching to electric vehicles and doing so for the environmental benefit. That is, that's not been a driver from the pandemic. That's my my short summary.
Yes, seems like.
Sorry, Haynes?
I have the same impression, yeah, that people doesn't matter now of Corona or of the pandemic, yeah, to switch to electric vehicles. Uh, uh, it hasn't any effect to the decision if you buy electric vehicle or combustion vehicle. Only the effect is the price of the vehicles. This is the most important issue. Yeah, it needs to be economic investment, and then we will do that.
Well, to me, actually, I don't know if here in Chile we did it all wrong, but with the pandemic, we saw an increase in the sold of vehicles that was crazy. It was in the news that we broke all the records in the sold vehicles, and it was very sad because if you want to make an impact, you should promote public transportation and also electric vehicles. But we missed that opportunity because almost all the vehicles that were sold in Chile were of combustion. So we are now facing a biggest problem than before the pandemic because we have a lot of new vehicles circulating in the cities, and those people did the investment, and maybe they didn't know that there were a choice to buy electric vehicles, or maybe they thought that it was too expensive to buy an electric vehicle, and they choose the traditional ones. So I think we did it all wrong, and we are now facing a huge problem that I don't have the answer. So those countries that are still facing the pandemic, I would suggest that take into this account.
That's a really interesting point there, Francisco, because certainly across Europe, we saw kind of the opposite effect, right? We saw as manufacturing stopped for 3 months in mid 2020, we actually saw all the governments rush out really fast, strong policies for electric vehicle adoption, and as a result, the pandemic was a huge trigger for people to invest in electric vehicles. Note that most of these are going through businesses, so I haven't included this as a pure consumer action, but the tax benefits for doing so, the 9,000 euros you get off a vehicle in Germany during that period really stimulated growth for electric vehicles. At the same time, the factories use that downtime to clear out their old combustion engine factory and establish their electric vehicle factory. It was kind of convenient to actually scale up production of electric vehicles from an industrial perspective. So we have seen that shift. The charging infrastructure is now lagging behind in many countries, and that's another issue that we're seeing.
Now, let's address this issue from a different perspective, which is the importance of policy and the public sector in the implementation of green mobility solutions. Tough question.
I'll go first again. I mean, it's super important, right? Transport, is vehicles plus infrastructure, and infrastructure really is it's a public good, and you need to plan these things for decades in advance, which is a fascinating problem to have for public administrations who might be voted in for 4 or 5 years, right? How do they commit to things that people are going to vote for transport solutions that they may never see in their lifetime? How does that how do you square that? It's around making sure that the ambition and what you want your city or your region or your country to aspire to, that vision that your political party is giving, matches what the populace wants. So it's very important that you have that ambition, and you also use public authorities, of course, to regulate and make sure we're driving investment, but also as a way to bring sectors together. There's no point us living in our little silos of different modes of transport, different technologies as well. Hydrogen, batteries, biofuels. We all sit in different silos. I see a role for public authorities to bring all of that together and make sure that we have the right mix of solutions, not just picking a winner and going with that, and realizing that there might be some further problems down the line.
Thank you, Alex. Francisco.
Yeah, hence, you're mute. I thought. Okay, so I will go. So of course, it's really important, and as each country has its own politics, I'm seeing that those countries that are putting more effort to promote electric vehicles or a more sustainable way for transportation are making great advancements, and are those countries like mine and Chile that are maybe waiting for a momentum or waiting for the prices to drop. And I think it may be the wrong strategy. Chile was very famous because it was the country that, without subsidies, advanced the most rapidly in the solar industry. There was many studies about that, but I don't see that with electric vehicles. So maybe politics should take account that momentum is not has to do all the work, and in sometimes like this one, where we are talking about environmental, and we are seeing right now a huge amount of vehicles in the roads. It should be the time to take action and don't wait until to see what happens.
Well, the policy and the politicians, they do also the regulations and the standards. They set up that. And so for us, Germany and in Europe, so we will get it, finally the decision by the politicians, and we have to accept it. Yeah. So if we then will use those alternative transportation systems. Even now we start here with public bus for very low price, public bus that we reduce our personal mobility or transport. And so you see how they do that. So, it will just for a very low price, the public bus for 1 month, you pay €9. And so automatically everybody will use it, and we will use our own car and would stay there. So this is also an effect what the politicians do now here in Germany and maybe in other European cities. And this is a very positive effect. And of course, in the future, we need to focus also on the mix of alternative transport systems, so battery vehicles, and in combination with fuel cell electric vehicles, and perhaps also with who knows, with synthetic fuels for typical combustions. We need also to focus on that, and it will stay, and it will be a mix of different automotives and drives. That will be clear, but we can reduce it only by the price, and of course by the politicians and the regulations and standards which we will get. And so I'm very convinced about it. We will change it soon to the green mobility.
Thank you, Heinz.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, as you can imagine, when we think about green mobility in Brazil or in Canada or in Italy or Japan, it's not the same, right? So how we can collaborate between us in order to improve that green mobility?
Well, the question. Sorry,
Please,
please.
Hans.
Do you mean the collaboration between Europe and Latin America, or between the countries?
Not only Europe. I'm talking about the world. It's not only Europe. It's not only Latin America. Let's think about Africa. There are many brilliant minds that have these great initiatives. Maybe somehow their ideas with the technology that we have in Europe could be a great solution. So how we can cooperate between us for a green mobility?
Yeah, it needs to be a technology transfer, of course. It needs to be such, let's say, such conferences here that everybody knows about it, about German technologies or about African technologies and Asian technologies, yeah, that we will get an overview, that we do then technology transfer and share knowledge and share solutions. And so it's easy then, such collaboration worldwide and globally.
Thank you, Hans. Francisco.
I agree with Hans, because we live in the same world, all of us, and we are facing the same problem. Also, I think we all agree that the way to overcome those challenges is in the electrification. So there is no doubt that all of us should be working in how we switch from fossil fuels to electrifying our cities, our vehicles, our industries. So to achieve that, I think we should collaborate, because it's a world effort, and I'm very proud to feel that I be in that group of people, as Alexander and Hans and maybe all of here, that we're working with the same objective. Thinking of that, I think we speak the same language. English for me is not my mother language, but I feel connected with all of you, because I think we want the same. And in that thought, I think that we can achieve our goal to decarbonize as soon as possible.
Great, yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, yeah, events like this, opportunities to do case studies from different regions, and not just focus on, look, here's the countries that have the most electric vehicles, in talking about electrification again. But there's a lot of emphasis on Norway and how they've managed to switch over to electric vehicles so quickly. Really good case study. Great, but let's look at other things. And actually, where I'm most fascinated is not just about the technology, but it's about social policy and behavior change. And I would come immediately to Latin America for great sustainable transport concepts, ideas, initiatives. The Ciclovia in Bogota, where they close key roads in the city center every Sunday and allow people to cycle or use active travel to get around. That's inspired countries in Europe, cities in North America to do exactly the same. In fact, London is doing one on Sunday. That was all inspired by the capital of Colombia from many decades ago. So there is really important. We really need to showcase what we're doing in different countries better, because we all have really good ideas that we could learn from each other.
Thank you, Alex. I'm happy to hear that you know about the initiative that we have in Bogota. I'm happy to hear that. For the ones that doesn't know, I'm from Colombia, and my city is Bogota indeed. So I'm happy to hear this. Damani, I don't know if you would like to add anything else to this point.
Yes, I realized that I started back late and I saw that there are some questions.
But wait, we are not looking at the chat right now. We were discussing how we can join forces between the countries in order to move forward
Yes.
green mobility?
Yes. Collaboration will be extremely important in this effort because we're all using this planet, so we all need to work together to get it done. Now, that is the strategy that the carbon attack filter uses. Through the reason why transport emission is so large is because the accumulation of every little significant, or if you look at it, depending on how you're looking at it, every little insignificant vehicle with a small carbon footprint all come together and it accumulates to have the largest amount of carbon among all the other industries. So similar to that strategy, it's a true accumulation of our efforts. We will be able to win the fight against climate change. So I believe that we should come together as much as possible, because what I do is to support the transition to net zero. So I am really relying on the EV technology to catch up. But for now, where the internal combustion sector is at large, trying to decarbonize them as much as possible and lower fossil fuel dependency as much as possible, so that can support the transition to newer technologies. So I work to support these new technologies with drop-in technologies.
Thank you, Damani. So I would like to take some questions from the audience. Basically, we have a very active audience. The first question will be for Alex. When considering the life cycle analysis, would it be an idea to include the raw materials?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the key point of doing life cycle analysis, is that we really think about the whole vehicle holistically, not just saying, great, we've avoided having any form of tailpipe, therefore we are zero emissions, which a lot of the electric vehicle community like to do. We look at, okay, we're mining these metals for these batteries. That has a huge environmental cost. Most people don't understand a lot of the other environmental aspects, but just focusing on carbon, that does make the vehicle itself have a higher carbon footprint when we build it. But that is kind of an investment in order to where we pay off that investment in the first 50,000 kilometers of that vehicle when we are using electricity, even if it's from fossil fuels. In many cases, that means that we're going to actually have a smaller carbon footprint within that 50 or 60,000 kilometers of driving, and the rest of the time of that vehicle's life, which might be another 10, might be another 15 years, might be in other countries, it's already paid off that battery. So yeah, really important to consider that. There's lots of other things around battery recycling and other issues to deal with, but we've got to, the great thing about life cycle analysis is that it enables us to have all these holistic questions rather than just focusing on one issue and then passing the emissions to some other area of society.
Thank you, Alex. Now we have a very interesting comment and question from Atar. He's saying, as we are going to a more sustainable world, renewable energy sources like solar energy, wind energy, and others make a significant contribution, but still is not considered as a reliable source of thermal power plant for their uninterrupted power generation. So his question is how energy storage sources are going to help to achieve more resilient green sources of energy.
How energy sources, please repeat.
Okay, I think that we will make it will be faster if I just go directly to the question. How energy storage sources are going to help achieve more resilient green sources of energy. He wants to know specifically for the green hydrogen energy and its future scope in renewable energy sources and mobility sector.
Great. You have to know that you can produce green hydrogen from different sources, yeah, from solar power, from wind power, from water power, and from even from nuclear power. This is already important for different countries. And as additionally, you can produce the green hydrogen from sources from coal, natural gas, from wood, from other burn from household waste, yeah, by stream reforming. This is a very important question now and statement now, which I will give to this question. And so for many countries in the world, especially for the developing countries, to produce green hydrogen from their household waste, from the agriculture waste, yeah, this is the best opportunity to produce for low cost price hydrogen once and to take the carbon, the CO2, to catch it and to use the CO2. Then you have the green hydrogen to produce even from that green hydrogen the green electricity biofuel cell. This will be immediate, or this will be in the next let's say decade the market, and even by thermal power we can also produce green hydrogen. So the different sources and resources in the different countries are very important for green hydrogen production, for low cost green hydrogen production, and then we switch it into low cost electricity to run our battery electric vehicles.
Thank you, Heinz. Now we have a question for Damani. What is the life cycle of the carbon attacked exhaust filter? Are the raw materials for the filter easily accessible, and do they have a small carbon footprint? You are on mute. Okay, now.
All right. Yes. So we're still working on increasing the shelf life, but it's this filter is reusable, so it lasts longer than the competition. However, the cartridges are, as stated, biodegradable. So what you would do, those cartridges last about a month, so about 4 to 6 weeks. So from there, can you hear me? My connection is messy.
Yes.
Yes. So the carbon attack filter lasts up to 4 to 6 weeks currently. We're working to make it last longer. The materials are very easily accessible, yes, and they're also low carbon to produce.
Thank you, Damani. Francisco, I want to ask you, electric-based mobility will require around 3 times more electricity worldwide by 2050. How can startups take advantage of this transformation, specifically in Latin America?
Yes, well, as I said before, electric infrastructure, it takes a time, and you have to wait that time to improve the capacity. So if you're thinking about 5 or 10 years, it's very important that we don't have to wait longer, and with data, we can improve the capacity of what we have now in infrastructure, our current infrastructure of electricity, to feed electricity in, for example, electric vehicles in a smarter way. So you don't have to get to your home and plug your car. You can, with data, wait until maybe, I don't know, 2 a.m., where the power is more available in the electric infrastructure, and with software, optimize those charges to make a lower impact in the electric networks, and in that way you can help your wallet, because it will be cheaper to charge your car, but also you are helping with your neighbors, because if we all of us start to charge our vehicles at the same time, it would be very probable that we have a breakdown of the electric system. So you have to be smart with the electric vehicles infrastructure and charge, and with data, you can achieve that in a very efficient way.
Thank you, Francisco. Now, there is one question for you, Alex. If we have 4 billion vehicles on the planet, if electrification of these vehicles really the best way to go, it will have a massive carbon footprint plus waste issues, and between others.
Oh yeah, great question. So what's better than electrification is not having to have a vehicle. You know, when you see these scales of what can an individual do that has the biggest impact on for climate change from their lifestyle. One is switching from petrol to electric. Above that is going car free. So can we reduce the number of vehicles that we have? Globally, that's going to be a challenge, but certainly in the in Western countries, that's looking likely. I think we also need to think about different scales of vehicle as well. And if I may, I'm just going to highlight another comment or question that was in there around talking about is what's better, charging infrastructure or swappable batteries. For me, it comes down to, can you carry the battery in a car? No way. These are 300, 400 kilograms of metal. So that's where the charging infrastructure element comes in. But if you can carry it for like 2 and 3 wheelers, and particular in markets in Asia, in India, where there's huge growth in the scooter market or the electric bike market, that is where I do actually see that we could see billions of electric vehicles avoiding moving down the car route, and which also includes an awful lot of materials and a huge amount of waste at the end of that. Actually moving to smaller, more efficient electrified vehicles can actually be a really effective way that we will globally reduce our impact. And just one comment on the wastage side of things. Yes, a battery has a lifespan. When the batteries come out of cars, we're finding that A, they're not as degraded as we thought, but 2, the value is huge for these materials. In fact, companies that make electric vehicle batteries, they say that their next mine is not in it's not in the countryside where they're going to dig up and find more raw materials. It's actually recycling old batteries, so you can keep using metals. You know, over 90% of the metals within there are reusable. And if they don't get reused, they can go into second life, so they can be used for static storage, which helps with renewable energy, so that when the solar is not being powered during the night time, or that energy is being stored. So there's a huge amount of opportunities from the energy system broadly, which means that electrification is worthwhile moving to switching billions of vehicles to this, but we need to do it the most way. So the smallest, most efficient vehicles, let's not waste batteries, and also let's focus on let's get more people cycling, let's get more people using public transport, because that's even better than replacing like for like with another car.
Thank you, Alex. Now I would like to ask you this. Let's talk about the cost and the complexity of introducing and scaling innovation, and the need for companies to make difficult choices to scale up and grow with clean technologies. In your experience, how it has been for you and your company? We would like to know more about how it has been for you. Of course, the question is for all of you guys.
Please repeat the final question.
Yes.
Maria.
Your experience, how it's been for you and your company. I mean, it's not easy to start to scale up with innovations and clean technologies. So how it has been for you and for your company or your organization, if it is the case?
Well, it needs, of course, it needs a couple of time to establish new technologies, but we are on a good way. And of course, everybody knows that we work at the world work on that, let's say, since 2 decades. And now comes the time for the establishment, which is on the way and very fast. It is on the way. Both technologies here in Germany and in Europe, and the hydrogen which are fundamental for fuel cell electric vehicles as well as battery vehicles, and the charging points are to establish here in this moment in a huge manner, and even in Europe. So I have the impression that within a couple of years, just maybe 2-3 years, we have an holistic installation of infrastructure for electric battery vehicles together with fuel cell electric vehicles with the filling station of hydrogen in combination, and it will facilitate, and it will we will have a big progress in the establishment of a green transport system and green transport vehicles, any vehicle. So if we talk about buses, trucks, vans, public cars, whatever you can imagine, will be on the road within 2-3 years here in Germany and in Europe.
Thank you, Heinz. How it has been for you, Alex?
Yeah, I think I've been lucky to do a lot of innovation projects over the last 5 years, again in the world of electric vehicles. One comment I would say is that it is a global effort, and if we look at the charging technologies, one area that I'm very interested in is how we can send electricity back out of a vehicle and into a building, into the electricity grid. The Japanese started this technology 15 years ago because they really need a resilient grid infrastructure. So they built the technology that we need there. Then it was innovators in the Netherlands who really picked this up and developed and have created microgrids connected with solar panels and are doing more of that in cities like Utrecht. Here in the UK government put in loads of money, and I helped do a lot of these demonstration trials. So in each different geography, different technologies come along at different times, but we all globally benefit from that investment. So that's got to be a mix of corporate and government investment. And I really hope that we can transfer that technology and that learning to other countries as well. I know that there are some vehicle to grid technology demonstrations in the Caribbean happening, for example, now, where we're taking school buses and using them as backup storage when there are extreme weather events.
Thank you, Alex. Francisco.
Okay, so to me, the main issues that I and my company are facing is time. How can we improve the arrivement of these solutions? And we thought that infrastructure, it takes a time. Like, charging infrastructure, it takes a lot of time. Of course, a great infrastructure, it takes longer. So we thought that with digital technologies, we can achieve solutions real quick. Data is in the cloud, and there is not much to infrastructure because it's already there. So our company sees that data, it will be a very good tool to achieve those goals. Of course, we have to make efforts in develop the infrastructure that is needed to electrification. But in the meanwhile, data, it will be I think the key enabler to electrification in a faster way.
Thank you, Francisco. Damani.
Right, so the main problems that I face with this with these solutions and company as well, energy when it comes to fuels, it would have a lot to do with policy. So it does take a while, and based because of my location, there is not a lot of funding there. So I've been told many times that with these innovations, if I had just moved to a different country, like in the UK region or in America, I would get massive amount of funding very quickly. So I would have to probably consider that, but it would be a bummer because I created these solutions to like benefit the Caribbean region. But the quickest way that I can get these innovations out and to try to give back to my region is to venture out because it's in America and the European region where the funding is. So I would have to, go out and get those opportunities.
Thank you, Damani. Now, the last question for all of you would be, what would be that advice that you will give to all of those people that are trying to innovate in this field?
Well, advice. Yeah, just be on the way, and it will suddenly we will have the green mobility, and yeah, stay online, I would say, and you will feel within a short time, that we have done the correct decision to switch to green mobility, and the revolution is on the way, definitely. And so let's do our best to continue. That is my recommendation to everybody, and finally we will get it within a short time.
Yeah, I would add to that. I would focus on where you see the biggest challenges generally in transport in your region, your city, your location, and think about what ways you can improve on other problems. Maybe it's about air quality and pollution. Maybe it's about social mobility and making sure that so people can move around cities and get access to their jobs or healthcare. If we can find the solutions that are for them, they're going to be the green solution to the future as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, it's just do it. Like it's such a big issue that it needs a lot of hands. So those who want to become in enablers of the change, just do it. Don't wait too much, because we need all we need all the hands that we can. But also, I think there is a great opportunity to work development in this area. We are seeing a lot of movement, a lot of companies being acquiring. So it could be a great area for work development, and also for ourselves. I feel my heart is full working in this. So I'm very happy, and I want to share the happiness with all of you, encouraging you to innovate in this area.
Thank you, Francisco. I see that Damani is back here, right? Damani? Damani, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know if we are having some issues with the connection, but of course, I know that Damani has a lot of things to share with the audience about his experience, so feel free to reach him. He will be happy to provide you more information, some suggestions and advices to be successful. We're arriving to the end of this webinar. So before leaving you, I want to share my screen with you because we have a special gift for our panelists. Give me just 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen? Guys, can you see my...
Yep.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So I'd like to thank each of you for giving us your time, for being part of this webinar, digital talk. This is a way to create awareness. This is a way to share knowledge. So I hope that this will be the beginning of new projects. Who knows? Maybe someone from the audience is going to be contacted in order to do something together. So thank you so much for being here. We would like to deliver 1-3 for Alex. Thank you so much for being part of this. 1-3 as well for the Manny Thomas. Thank you so much for your participation. 1-3 for Francisco. Thank you, Francisco, for being here. And 1-3 for Haynes. So thank you so much. This is just a representative way to tell you thank you for being here. But more than that is to be part of the change makers, to contribute to make this world a better place. So thank you so much. And I hope that we will have the opportunity to share a panel like this one. And let's keep in touch, okay?
Yeah, let's keep in touch. Let's see what we can do together. And the audience can also send an email to me with their question. And who knows that we have a collaboration with Chile, with Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as with Asia. I'm also based in Dubai with an office and with a team. So we can even by Dubai, quick to Asia, we can do a collaboration. Or in Latin America, also there are opportunities in Chile and in Brazil and where else. So thank you very much for this conference. It was a pleasure.
I will be happy to connect again. If you would like to get in touch with someone in a specifically, just let me know and I will be happy to do that match. Thank you once again, and remember that technology obliges. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.